Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Teacher Andrew, and this has been the Teacher Andrew Reads in a Canoe holiday special. I have moved out of the Christmas tree and fire area because this book has nothing to do with Christmas. I am still holding my ceremonial canoe pedal in order to upkeep that spirit of my series. But I have one question for you. Have you ever eaten a latke? It's a very, very delicious food, and I highly recommend it. This book is a Hanukkah story, and it is a book about a traditional food for Hanukkah, the latke. It's called Latkes, good to eat. Here's a golden pan. And the title again. Latkes, Good to Eat by Naomi Howland. Once, on the outskirts of a tiny village, a girl named Sadie lived with her 4 little brothers, Herschel, Hill, Chaim, and the baby Max. Their mama lived there too, but she was away helping out Rose with her new baby. The family was so poor that the one coin in Sadie's purse never had another coin to keep it company. Their house was so drafty the wind whistled through it like a train going to Moscow. And they were always hungry. This year, the first night of Hanukkah was the coldest night yet, and the snow was deep. Sadie said, "Boys, go out and gather some firewood." "It's too cold outside," Herschel said. "You go," and he pushed Hill to the door. "It's too dark outside," Hill complained. "You go," and he pulled Chaim to the door. "But the wood is so heavy," Chaim whined. "You go," and he pointed to Herschel. Sadie sighed. "I will get the wood. Watch the baby until I return." Sadie's boots sank into the new snow. She walked from tree to tree, picking up fallen branches. An hour passed, and it got colder and darker, and a bitter wind began to blow. At last, Sadie packed up the wood and turned to go home. Suddenly, a twig snapped. Sadie whirled around to see a bent old woman standing before her. The woman's face was as creased and lined as a bit of wrinkled cloth. The old woman sneezed. "Achoo!" "Bless you, Tante," Sadie said, and she noticed the old woman's shoulders trembling. Her coat was shabby and thin. "Are you cold?" "Oh, I am, dear," said the old woman, shivering, "and I have no more firewood," and she blew on her hands to warm them. Sadie didn't hesitate. "Please take this wood for your fire," she said. She piled all the wood she had gathered into the old woman's sack. "Thank you," said the old woman. "You are a kind child. Now I have a gift for you." And she unhooked a frying pan from her belt. "When you are hungry tonight, put this pan on the stove and say these words. Latkes, good to eat. Cook me up a Hanukkah treat. When you are not hungry anymore, say, a great miracle happened here." And all of you listening, remember those exact words. A great miracle happened here. "Thank you, Tante," Sadie said. "Never forget the words I have taught you," warned the old woman. "Keep them a secret. Only you may use my gift." And with that, she hobbled off into the forest. Sadie ran home. "Quickly, boys, let's light the menorah," she said. "I have a surprise." As soon as they had said the blessings and lit the first candle, Herschel asked, "What's the surprise?" "And where's our wood?" asked Hill. "I met an old woman in the forest," Sadie explained. "I gave her the wood because she was so cold, and she gave me this frying pan." "What, a frying pan?" cried Herschel. "We don't even have a fire." "We don't even have any food," Hill complained. "Just watch," said Sadie, and she put the pan on the cold stove and whispered the old woman's words. Latkes, good to eat. Cook me up a Hanukkah treat." And at that moment, a fire danced up under the frying pan, and right away 5 golden latkes sizzled in oil. The 4 little boys crowded around the stove. "How did you do that?" asked Herschel. "The old woman told me not to tell," answered Sadie. And as soon as she put the latkes on their plates, another 5 latkes sputtered in the pan. "Can I try?" asked Hill. "No, let me." Chaim pushed his brothers aside. "No," said Sadie. "Only I can use the frying pan." When the plates were heaped high with latkes, Sadie whispered, "A great miracle happened here." And the magic frying pan stopped cooking. Just like that. They ate and ate until their stomachs were full. The next night, after Sadie and her brothers lit their menorah, Sadie set the frying pan on the stove, and in a hushed voice she repeated the words, "Latkes, latkes, good to eat, cook me up a Hanukkah treat." Immediately a fire glowed under the pan where 5 delicious latkes were sizzling. And when the plates were heaped high, Sadie said softly, "A great miracle happened here." And the frying pan stopped cooking. Just like that. Each night of Hanukkah, the children sat down to another tasty dinner of potato pancakes. And then, the afternoon of the 8th night, Sadie put on her shawl. "I'm going to find the old woman and invite her to eat latkes with us tonight," she said. "I will cook them when I get back. Take care of the baby, and be good boys, and don't touch the frying pan." All together, the brothers nodded their heads and solemnly said, "We promise." Do you think they're going to touch the frying pan? Only a minute after Sadie had closed the door, Herschel boasted, "I heard the secret words." "You did not," said Hill, "and we aren't supposed to touch the frying pan." "I did too," said Herschel. "We could eat just a few latkes," said Hyam. "Sadie won't know." Max, the baby, said, "Latkes! Latkes!" The boys looked at Herschel, and Herschel looked at the pan. "It's easy to use the frying pan," he said. "Just watch." And he put the frying pan on the stove, and he said, "Latkes, latkes, good to eat. Cook me up a Hanukkah treat." If, when you're watching at home, you want to say that part along, it's kind of fun. "Latkes, latkes, good to eat. Cook me up a Hanukkah treat." The stove lit itself with a bright flame, and at once the frying pan was filled with 5 latkes sputtering in oil. And when the latkes were hot and golden, Herschel said, "Great! Here, a miracle happened." The frying pan began cooking 5 more latkes. Was that the right words? No. With tender centers and crispy, lacy edges. "We have enough, brother," said Hill, but the frying pan kept cooking. The little boys piled their plates high with latkes. "Here, great miracles happened," tried Herschel. The frying pan cooked up 5 more luscious, brown-flecked latkes. And the 4 brothers ate fast, but the frying pan cooked faster. Soon they had filled every dish, all the mixing bowls, and the wash tub with steaming hot latkes. Hyam cried, "Stop, frying pan!" But the frying pan cooked up 5 more latkes, savory and salty. "Happy green miracles here," Max yelled. But the pan kept cooking. The boys hid latkes in the cupboard and under the bed. They fed latkes to the cat. Soon latkes were spilling out the door. The smell of potatoes and onions and oil floated through the village. The shoemaker stopped cobbling to sniff. The fishmonger, holding a fresh carp, paused to breathe in the fragrance. The village gossip even stopped talking long enough to inhale the aroma of Hanukkah cooking. Meanwhile, Sadie had walked deep into the blue-shadowed forest. "Tanta, Tanta," she called over and over, but there was no answer. Where could the old woman be? Soon the sun would go down, and Sadie needed to be home by dark to light the menorah. Now she wasn't sure she would even know the way home. Bony branches scratched the sky, and Sadie shivered. "Tanta," she called again, and the wind whistled through the dark trees, and it carried a tantalizing aroma. There was a rustle of dry leaves, and the old woman appeared. Before Sadie could say a word, the old woman held up her hand for silence and sniffed the air. Sadie, too, breathed deeply. Potatoes? Onions? Oil? "Latkes! Oh no!" she cried. Following her nose, she began to run with the old woman close behind. When Sadie reached the edge of the village, she could not believe her eyes. Her house had almost disappeared under a mountain of latkes. She scrambled up a pile of warm latkes and looked in the window. Her brothers were standing at the stove, eating latkes as fast as they could, and more latkes sizzled in the frying pan. "A great miracle happened here," Sadie shouted. And the frying pan stopped cooking. Just like that. Herschel, Hill, Hyam, and the baby Max promised, "We will never touch the frying pan again." Sadie put them all to bed with tummy aches. "But what will we do with all these latkes?" she wondered. "I could carry them away," said the village porter. "I could sweep them up," said the broom seller. "We could eat them," said someone else. It was Mama, home from helping Aunt Rose. We'll have a Hanukkah feast, said Sadie. Everyone is invited. And what a party the village had that night. There was singing and dancing and dreidel playing, and of course there were latkes. Golden, tongue-burning, hot, tender yet crisp, lacy, luscious, brown-flecked, savory, salty, scrumptious latkes to eat. And no one in the tiny village was ever hungry on Hanukkah again. And should you ever find this book, there's a good latke recipe there in the back. All right, everyone, that was Latkes Good to Eat. And I am Teacher Andrew. This has been the Teacher Andrew Reads in a Canoe holiday special. I and this here ceremonial canoe paddle are signing off, giving a wave, and I'll see you next time. Oh! Thanks for joining me. Bye.